She served New York's finest families elegant dinners, delicate custards, and, unknowingly, a deadly secret. Wherever Mary Mallon cooked, people began to fall ill. Though she never felt sick herself, her name became infamous. Typhoid Mary, the woman who turned the art of cooking into an epidemic. Today, we're lifting the silver lid on her story, the science, the scandal, and the stubbornness that changed how the world understood disease. This is High Tea and History, where elegance meets intrigue and the past is served with a side of gossip. If you love tales of scandal, science, and secrets, leave a comment below and tell us what strange stories you'd like us to explore next. Pinkies up, let's begin. Before we had hand sanitizer, public health inspectors, or a clear understanding of germs, we had dinner parties, gilded affairs lit by candlelight and confidence, where danger came plated in silver. At the turn of the 20th century, New York was a city of contradictions, opulence above ground, contagion below. Amid this backdrop, one woman, an unassuming Irish immigrant, would become both legend and warning. Her name was Mary Mallon. Mary arrived in the 1880s, hardworking, practical, and fiercely proud. She quickly rose to prominence as a cook for wealthy households, prized for her refined palate and steady hand. Her ice cream was legendary, her kitchens immaculate. But in nearly every home where she worked, illness soon followed. Fever, delirium, rashes. Typhoid fever was supposed to be a disease of the poor, not the polished. Yet it crept into mansions through Mary's menus. And by the time the sickness passed, Mary had moved on, unaware of the chaos she left behind. In 1906, sanitary engineer George Soper was called to investigate a mysterious outbreak at a Long Island estate. His research led to one common denominator: the cook. When he confronted Mary, politely requesting samples for testing, she responded with the timeless grace of a woman accused of poisoning dinner, by hurling him out of the kitchen, possibly with a meat fork. It took several officers, an ambulance, and a chase through the streets before Mary was finally caught. The tests confirmed the unbelievable. She carried the bacteria responsible for typhoid fever, but showed no symptoms herself. She was the first known asymptomatic carrier in the United States. Mary was shocked, insulted, and entirely unconvinced. "I've never been sick," she insisted. "How could I infect anyone?" Germ theory was still new, and invisible killers were hard to imagine, but science, and her record, was undeniable. With no cure available, officials quarantined her on North Brother Island, a secluded outpost in New York's East River reserved for infectious patients. Her cottage overlooked the water, but her world had grown impossibly small. Doctors begged her to remove her gallbladder, the suspected breeding ground for bacteria. She refused, certain they were wrong. The press pounced, branding her the most dangerous woman in America. Cartoonists drew her stirring skulls into saucepans. Headlines portrayed her as both villain and victim. After 3 years, Mary was released under one condition: she must never cook again. But laundry work paid miserably, and Mary's pride would not bend. She vanished from record until 1915, when a typhoid outbreak struck a New York maternity hospital. 25 people fell ill. When investigators arrived, there she was, apron tied, ladle in hand, working under a false name. She was sent back to North Brother Island, this time permanently. She spent the next 23 years there, washing bottles in a hospital lab and living quietly in exile. Visitors described her as defiant but dignified, still insisting she'd been wronged. She died in 1938, likely of pneumonia. By then, hundreds of other healthy carriers had been identified, but none treated with such severity. Mary Mallon's name, however, had already entered history as a warning whispered across centuries, the cook who never felt sick but made the world rethink sickness itself. Her story forces us to ask, was she a villain, spreading disease through stubborn pride, or a victim punished for ignorance in a world just learning the rules? Perhaps, like most things in history, she was both. So next time you sit down to a fine meal, spare a thought for the cook who proved that even the cleanest kitchen can hide catastrophe. This has been High Tea and History, where elegance meets epidemic, and the past is always steeped in secrets. Pinkies up, and please do wash your hands.